I walk through the warm streets of Brazil, where the sun touches the simple houses and the wind carries the weariness of many hearts. I see mothers struggling, young people without hope, and men tired from fighting through each day. Then I stop among them and say, "Children, do not think that I am far away. I see every hidden tear, every night when you ask for strength. The world may say that you are small, but to me, each one of you is precious. When you share your bread, when you help those who suffer, when you forgive those who have done wrong, there I will be with you." People look at me with surprise, and some begin to cry. I continue, "Do not let pain steal your faith. Hope is born in small things, in a hug, in a word of kindness, in a heart that chooses to love." And as I walk through the streets, I leave behind the reminder that no humble heart is forgotten by God. In the great cities of the United States, among tall buildings and busy streets, I see crowds walking quickly, yet many with empty hearts. I stop in the middle of the crowd and say, "Children, you have built enormous cities, but do not forget to build compassion in your hearts." Some listen to me in silence. I continue, "The value of a life is not in wealth, but in the love it offers to the world." I see people tired of competing and trying to prove their worth. Then I say, "You do not need to prove anything to me. I already know each of you by name." Some approach seeking comfort. I place my hand on their shoulders and say, "When you help those whom no one sees, when you choose kindness instead of pride, you will be walking with me." And I move on through the city lights, reminding them that even in the busiest places, the human soul still searches for peace. I walk through the ancient cities of Spain, among old churches and squares filled with history. I see people carrying doubts in their hearts, and others who feel that faith has been lost in the noise of the world. I approach them and say, "Children, faith does not live only within the walls of temples, but within you. When a heart decides to love, the kingdom of God is born again." Some ask me where to find hope in difficult times. I answer, "Look at one another. Every person who suffers is an invitation to love. Every helping hand is a light against the darkness." I walk among them and feel their fears and struggles. Then I say again, "Do not be afraid to begin again. Even when everything seems lost, love can raise what has fallen." And so, I continue my journey, reminding everyone that God never abandons those who sincerely seek the truth. I walk through the organized streets of Germany, among modern cities and deep memories of history. I see people who carry discipline and hard work, but also silent worries. Then I say, "Children, the human heart needs more than order and strength. It needs mercy." Some stop to listen as the cold wind passes through the streets. I continue, "Even the strongest nations must learn to care for the weak. True greatness is born when the powerful protect the small." I see young people thinking about the future, and I say, "Do not let the fear of tomorrow steal the joy of today. Hope grows when you choose justice and kindness." I walk among them and remind them, each generation has the chance to build a better world than the one before. And so, I move forward, leaving simple words that remind them that peace begins inside every heart. I arrive in Poland, a land marked by faith and suffering throughout history. I see churches, lit candles, and people praying in silence. I approach and say, "Children, I know the pain this land has endured. Every tear shed has not been forgotten by God." People listen attentively. Then I continue, "The faith you carry is a light that has crossed generations. do not let it fade. I see elders and young people together and say, when one generation teaches love to another, the world finds hope. Some cry while remembering the past. I say gently, suffering is not the end of the story. God transforms wounds into paths of hope. I walk slowly among them and leave a promise. As long as there is a heart willing to love and forgive, the light of God will continue shining in this land. In Mexico, I walk among colorful streets, music, and living faith in the hearts of the people. I see families united, but also many difficulties and poverty. Then I say, children, the joy you carry is a precious gift. Even in the midst of struggles, you continue singing and believing. Some smile and others bow their heads in prayer. I continue. Never think that God is far from simple homes. I walk exactly among those whom the world forgets. I see children playing and say, protect the little ones, for they carry the hope of tomorrow. People approach me and speak of their pain. I answer, when you share the little that you have, love multiplies. Then I continue my path saying, true faith is born in the humble heart that trusts even when the road seems difficult. I arrive in France and walk through historic streets filled with art and deep thoughts. I see people searching for meaning in life and others who have moved away from faith. Then I say, children, the human mind may search for many answers, but the heart finds peace in love. Some discuss ideas and I smile. Knowledge is beautiful, but without compassion, it becomes empty. I walk among students, workers, and artists and say, let the beauty of kindness inspire your lives. A woman asks where hope can be found. I answer, it begins when you decide to look at another person's suffering with mercy. Silence fills the square. Then I say, God is not distant from human reason. He also lives in the simplicity of love. And I continue forward, reminding them that faith and wisdom can walk together. In Italy, I walk among ancient churches, paintings, and stories of faith that have crossed centuries. I see pilgrims and also people who have lost hope. Then I say, children, many have come to these places searching for God, but He has always been close to you. I walk through the stone streets and continue. Faith does not live only in traditions, but in love lived every day. I see people praying and others simply watching. Then I say, when you care for the poor, when you visit those who are alone, you turn faith into life. The wind touches the church bells as I continue. Do not let faith become only a memory of the past. It must live in every act of compassion. And I move forward, reminding them that God speaks both in temples and in humble hearts. I walk through African lands where many people struggle against hunger, drought, and the world's forgetfulness. I see children with eyes full of hope, even in hardship. Then I say, children, God sees every step you take on this land. Some approach quietly. I continue. Suffering does not define who you are. You are loved and precious. I see communities sharing the little they have and say, when you divide your food and care for one another, the love of God appears. A mother asks if God has forgotten her people. I answer, never. Every prayer made here rises to heaven like light. I walk among them, reminding them, even in the places most forgotten by the world, God remains present. And I leave a message of hope so they never stop believing in the dignity of their lives. Finally, I continue my journey looking upon the whole earth. I see different countries, different languages, and different stories, yet the same human heart searching for meaning. Then I say, children of all nations, you are one family before God. I walk among invisible crowds and continue. Do not let borders, wealth, or power divide what was created to live in love. I see wars, injustice, but also acts of kindness. Then I say, every person who chooses to love changes a piece of the world. My voice echoes among different peoples. When you care for the poor, when you forgive your enemies, and when you choose peace, you will be walking with me. And I leave this final message. Hope does not belong to one country, but to every heart that believes love is stronger than fear.